Alrighty guys, are you ready? We're just about 3 days away from the release date of Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. It's going to be quite interesting, I must add, to see what the box office results are really going to be like post June 30th. We should be, by the way, getting those real numbers crunching up and coming in, give or take around July 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd, right around that time, to really get a rough idea of what the general weekend looks like for Indiana Jones 5. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And, well, let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know that everything related to the box office projections of Indy 5 are very low, as well as the growing number of fans that want nothing to do with this movie. However, you guys may come to realize that there's a lot of regular moviegoers that really just know nothing about Indiana Jones that are going to end up seeing this movie. That's the only thing that really makes you wonder, is this movie going to be a success box office-wise purely for the common moviegoers that are not Indiana Jones fans that are going to go ahead and see this film? Are those numbers enough to support this movie to actually break even, or perhaps even get more than the budget that they poured into this thing, which was, by the way, roughly $300 million, which is crazy money for a movie like this, but I digress. What's interesting about Kathleen Kennedy is she goes on to talk more about the quote-unquote or the supposed Indy 5 boycott, and how she views a lot of fans grouping together, not agreeing to not see this movie, essentially. And really, the reality of things is that there's just a disinterest of this film. So let's tap into this. Now, with those like Kathy Kennedy and Phoebe Waller-Bridge desperately trying to gain audience members to see the Indy 5 film. However, recently Kennedy addressed the Indy 5 boycott again, and acknowledging fans decided to not see the film. She delivered the following: "We here at Lucasfilm have a very large cast and crew that worked on the amazing piece of cinema. We would be lying if we didn't realize there were quite a number of fans deciding to not see this film because of a female lead in this movie, which I have said this before too many times, is just ridiculous and something that proves the film industry has much work to do. Seeing a film and disliking it is one thing. Not seeing it for the reason I stated before is another, and very childish behavior, I must add. We make films for those audience members to escape reality and have a fun, entertaining experience. We knew going in that we had to really promote diversity in this film and equality, to really have this film relate to nearly everyone around the globe, to make the film a successful one." So let me stop here. Now, basically what Kathleen Kennedy is saying is that an Indiana Jones movie can't be successful unless you are pushing equality and diversity, etc., etc. That's what she's saying. And look, guys, to be clear, equality and diversity is fine, but let it naturally unravel itself. Don't just force it into your plot just for the sake of it to, check things off, because that's what they always do nowadays. At least with Disney, they do this. They're the main company that has been doing this now. A lot of other companies are beginning to have a turnaround. I know Universal is, at least, and we also know that Paramount is beginning to kind of rethink their ways as well. So what's interesting about this further is that Kathleen Kennedy is acknowledging that there's a lot of fans that don't want to see this movie. Of course, she's viewing it as a boycott. Some fans will see this as a boycott, some other fans will say it's not. But we really know one thing and one thing only about this, is that Kathleen Kennedy is really getting very defensive over this for two reasons. She knows that this is going to taint her track record even further. So not only did she literally tarnish or break the Star Wars franchise, but also the Willow franchise with the last, of course, TV show, and now the latest Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, and it doesn't stop there. She wants to create a sequel, and she is doubling down on that, and that's not surprising in the least at all. It seems like Disney, a lot of times, at least with most of their projects, they don't care if it does horrible in numbers. They just want to keep pumping these things out to push their agenda. But they can only go so far, guys. That's the ultimate truth. They can only go so far. Moving forward, She goes on to elaborate, something that I think is lacking in the film industry is that it was always our intention to really put that at the forefront in this movie. She's talking about, by the way, diversity and equality. To focus on those unresolved imbalances with diversity, equality for women, and more. This film is the shining example of accomplishing that in a great way. And for these numbers of so-called fans refusing to see this film, well then, that's their loss. Who doesn't love Indiana Jones? It's such an iconic character, and I am sure that those that want nothing to do with this film will end up eventually seeing it in the theaters or somehow on streaming later on, and that's still a win for us, really, transforming this franchise into something beautiful. Both James and Steven really worked hard on making this happen, and we love the fact that Phoebe helped us greatly with the story too. Now, look, we've mentioned this before as to why Disney is getting so desperate. Do you guys recall if Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker had an ad for Applebee's? If you spend $35 on a dinner, you can get one free ticket? No. That applies to Indiana Jones 5. Also, what applies to Indiana Jones 5 is that if you spend $75 at Applebee's, you get 2 free tickets at the Dial of Destiny. And that just goes to show you that they are intentionally just trying to fill in seats. Whether it's people that are just going out to eat and know nothing about Indiana Jones, get this, and then it's like, oh hey, you get this movie ticket for free, go ahead and check it out. Though a lot of people are going to be like, what's Indiana Jones? Oh, it's free, whatever, let's check it out. That seems like Disney's tricky, manipulative way to get butts in the seats. I don't know about you guys, but that most certainly is a very manipulative tactic to get people to go into the theaters. Now, they've done this before with other movies out there. Other studios have done this, but what I've come to realize, correct me if I'm wrong, but every time that they have done this with either Applebee's or other things out there like TGI Fridays, it was always like very weak films from what I realized, and this is not a good sign. The fact that they're doing that Applebee's thing, it really is going to show you that Disney is doing anything that they can to get people into the theater seats. I have a lot of you guys coming forward and commenting and messaging me on Twitter, stuff like that, saying how even now, as of today, Tuesday, where you pre-purchase tickets through Fandango, your theaters, no matter where you are in the States or elsewhere, there's a lot of free seats that are not taken up still. You know, just like, what, 3 days away from its release, not even practically? That's also not a good sign. If it was really a suspenseful movie that everyone was looking forward to, you would have those seats filled up by now, just like Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker did, even though, you know, fans knew what was coming with that film. It was still something that fans were gonna go ahead and see. It's because a lot of people know that this movie is not really authentic. They know what Lucasfilm was all about now, and I think that's the hard truth about all of it. So I would really love to hear your take on all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.